What's going on, everybody? John Eric Pauli here with my MMA news, and today's guest will be fighting William Gomis at UFC Vegas 71 on April 22nd. It's always great catching up with today's guest, Francis Marshall. Francis, appreciate the time as always. Thanks for being here. Appreciate it, man.
Oh, thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
Yeah, man, no problem at all. And before we dive into anything related to the April 29th fight, I do want to actually start today's interview by going back to your last fight. It was your UFC debut. You get a knockout win in the second round. Obviously, there was a crowd for that one, being in Orlando, Florida. Just what was that whole entire experience like, especially being the debut? I'm sure it's a moment you're going to remember for the rest of your life.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the experience overall was great. I mean, the first fight, being able to have it, how it used to be, like different cities all the time instead of having it at the Apex and whatnot. But it was great getting out there in front of the fans. I mean, stage was bigger, lights are brighter, you got more cameras on you and everything. Just a whole bigger production than even the Contender Series, and then definitely than what we see like on the regional circuit. So just getting that experience was great, and it was kind of like something like I could never imagine.
And what was it like afterwards too when you got to see your family? I know, like, I have a cousin that plays in the NHL, and it's fun whenever we go to a game and they get the win and the family's all around. There's a really nice moment afterwards when everybody kind of gets to catch up after a massive sporting event like that. Now I know for your case though, I know that there was a bit of a heavy heart going on there. I know you had lost a family member prior to the fight, but just what was all those raw emotions like afterwards when you got to see your family afterwards?
It was great, just seeing all of them come out to support me and everything like that. I have some family that lives in Florida, so they were all there. I mean, cousins and stuff that I haven't seen in a few years. So it was good to see all of them again, and kind of brings everyone something to bring everyone together. They could come out and watch and support. So it's always good to get the family back together.
Yeah, man, definitely is. Now let's start getting into, I guess, some more of this now current fight news. So April 29th fight date. I know you
20,
told me you were,
22nd.
was that 22nd? My bad, my
22nd day.
apologies. April 22nd. I don't know why I said 29th there. My bad, I apologize. April 22nd fight date. So yeah, obviously coming up here pretty near future. I guess just number one, how excited are you to get back inside there? I know you told me before we started the interview you were kind of hoping to get in there a little earlier. You're looking to get me that March area, but the UFC was booked out. So April 22nd, here it is.
Yeah, I mean, I'm definitely looking forward to get back in there. I feel like I'll be a little bit more comfortable this time, the second time around, and then it takes the whole, I guess, live crowd out of effect. Like you're not in that big arena. It's back at the Apex, which I have my Contender Series fight at, so I'm a little bit more familiar with that octagon and with that environment. So I'm really just looking forward to getting in there in the next, what is it, less than 4 weeks now.
Yeah, we are. We're getting down to the crunch time here for it. And I wanted to ask you about Fight Week too, being that this is your second time now going through it. UFC Fight Weeks, there's a lot that goes into it. I always talk about this with a lot of fighters when it's like their second fight, because the first time around, you have like the poster signings, the media day, pick up your fight kit, the weigh-in ceremony. So much goes into a UFC fight week, and it can be very hectic and chaotic. The fact that you did that once already, feel a little bit more relaxed now going out for the second time?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, especially for someone like me who's not like a mainstream fighter, like a household name kind of thing. Like I'm low man on the totem pole, so I got the least amount of responsibility. I don't. Last time I didn't have any media obligations to do. It was kind of just pick up your fight kit day one, try it on day two, go for the pictures and whatever. Day three, go for the commentator interview, talk to them, and then the last thing, day four was just the weigh-ins. Day five fight. So for me, it's super simple. Not anything crazy. Not too much to be overwhelmed with. But I could see for the guys who are higher up, like top 10 guys and stuff like that, they have a lot of more obligations to do during fight week. So definitely a little more probably stressful and time consuming for them.
All right, man, let's get into now training camp here a little bit. I know as we're doing this interview, camp is still going on, but you're starting to put the final touches on it. Just how's your camp been?
Camp's been pretty good. I mean, another 10 weeker I usually do 10 weeks for the camp and the diet. So it's kind of just coming down to the wire right now. Everything's starting to piece together, fall into place, the game plan, training, and just trying to really start peaking at the right time.
And you've been at Pellegrino MMA for such a long time now, working with Kurt and company there. I was just wondering, in terms of like keeping things fresh, and every once in a while, like fighters, when they train at the same gym, they like to maybe every once in a while, even during camp, like, I don't know, go do a long bike ride somewhere, maybe go to the beach and run on the sand for a day. Anything that just, mix up a little bit, keep some things fresh there. Do you do anything like that, or are you just the same routine, every single week whenever you have a fight coming up?
I'm pretty much on the same routine. I'm big on the if it's not broke, don't fix it. So it's been working so far. I mean, the most I'll change it up is I'll go for a run out by the reservoir I have by my house, kind of 5 mile loop. So once a week, if it's nice out, I'll go do 2 loops around there, get like a nice light 10 miles. But this winter hasn't been the greatest with all the rain and weather stuff. So it's been mostly just inside runs for me.
Yeah, well, hopefully we're behind that now. I'm in northeastern Pennsylvania. I know you're in Jersey. You're
Yeah.
kind of close by. It seems like, thank God, now I think the winter stuff's behind us. And really, winter, I guess, wasn't terrible, terrible. We definitely had some probably worse ones. But believe me, I get it. I'd much rather be outside every day going for runs and walks as opposed to being inside. But anyway, man, let's get into now your opponent here now. Just tell us a little bit about him as you've been now scouting him and what you're kind of expecting on fight night and how you see this fight playing out.
Yeah, so he's a taller guy, 6 foot, southpaw kickboxer more. So I think he's probably just going to try to open up with more kicks, more punches. He does tend to grapple in a lot of his fights I've seen, so I'll definitely be looking for that, be aware of that. But on his aspect, I think he's going to throw a lot of volume, more of kicks, and then just like typical Muay Thai or kickboxing stuff.
Okay, now this is next question here. It's something off of what you kind of said a little bit earlier. You had mentioned about this fight being back in the Apex. That's where you had your Contender Series fight. You said you were, comfortable with the octagon inside there and everything. I understand that part of it. But I want to ask you just about, the crowd factor being in the Apex there. Because for your debut, right, you were in Orlando. There was a crowd. That was kind of like the really cool, UFC experience to be like an arena that big and everything. Now, obviously, a lot smaller. I know you're used to fighting at regional shows that are smaller. Just want to get your take on just what it's like being inside the Apex. Does the whole crowd thing bother you, not bother you? Some fighters love to have the big crowds to kind of feed off of that energy.
Yeah, I mean, I'd much rather have a bigger crowd. I mean, at the end of the day, it's more for the fans. They prefer the crowd. They prefer to be there live. They're paying all of our salaries and stuff like that. So it's more for them. But the Apex, I feel like it's more just like a kind of like a more of a sparring session feel. Like you could hear everything in there. You could hear the corner crystal clear. You don't have to try to drown the noise out. It's all right there. So I feel like it's just like a bigger sparring session.
All right, so now April 22nd, right? I know we were talking about weather here before in the Northeast. Out in Vegas, weather's a lot nicer out there, especially that time of the year. People will tell you that it's absolutely perfect. Do you plan on making a little vacation out of this trip afterwards, or are you gonna, as soon as the fight's over, you're coming back home right back in the gym?
I'm right back home on Sunday morning, first flight out of there. So just a business trip for me. Fight Saturday. God willing, get the win. Come back home Sunday and get ready for the next one.
All right, let's talk now plans for the year here. So you were telling me before when we were off air, you were kind of hoping to get that fight in March. You were going to hope to get 4 fights in for the year. Now, late April, kind of pushing you towards that kind of weird mid part of the year there. What is the exact layout for the year if you had like a perfect scenario lined up? Do you want to get in there at least 3 times this year? What's kind of the game plan for you for the rest of the year here?
Yeah, perfect game plan for me would have this fight in April, win, get a finish, come out kind of untouched, still good, feeling good. Fight again in August, same results, and then fight again in either November or December, and then call that a year. But at the end of the day, if I still get August and December after this fight, that'll still be in a calendar year. It'll still be 4 fights for me, so I'll still be happy with that outcome.
Now, being a guy from Jersey, I'm sure you may be a little bit bummed that 2 weeks after your fight is going to be the fight at the Prudential Center. That'd be pretty cool. But I know the UFC usually does make a loop, usually somewhere in November, right around that time. They usually go back to New York City somewhere there. Would you like to fight on one of those cards, being that it's kind of your neck of the woods there?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, that would be. I mean, MSG's the mecca, so that would be amazing to fight there. That's usually a pretty big card with more experienced guys. So we'll see how they're feeling towards them. But I did just see something. I think they said they were coming back to Boston in the summer, so that's not far from me either. I might try to hop on that if all goes well and they're willing to put me on there.
Yeah, there are rumors circulating maybe sometime in July for Boston, so that'd be pretty cool. I know that'd be neat for the UFC to go back there. It's a pretty cool city. Anyway, man, let's go outside the cage now here for just a little bit. I wanted to ask you about the fire department. I know you're still involved there. Just what's that kind of been like? How have things been there? Bad winter? I know wintertime, my buddy's a firefighter. I know wintertime can be a little hectic and chaotic there at the fire department.
Yeah, I mean, job's still going great. It's just still normal for me. I'm still working my days and stuff like that. I can't complain. It's a great job to have, especially with the training schedule. So all's going well there. Winter wasn't as terrible as it could have been, as terrible as the year before, I think. But yeah, we kind of lucked out this year.
So, with these training and firefighter lines here, it kind of leads perfectly to my next question I want to ask you about. I don't know if you caught the comments or not, but John Jones made a comment to Stipe Miocic about preparing for the fight in July, and he said something pretty much, I'm paraphrasing here, but something like, you better take time off from the fire department to prepare for me. And I know that didn't sit well with some people, and I get it, because, you're taking poking fun at a guy that's being a first responder and helping people when they're in serious needs there. Did you make much of that comment at all or anything like that, or did it not really bother you? I don't know if you even saw the comment or not.
Yeah, I saw it. I mean, it doesn't really bother me at all. I understand where he's coming from that aspect, and it honestly might be like help out. I mean, Stipe seems like he had it down to a science for him. Like, but just with the whole rest and recovery aspect of it, I mean, you're going to work for 24 hours. You're not really getting the recovery you need, like the perfect recovery you would need for the next day of training, where you would if you were getting a solid 8 hours of sleep at home. So I can see it in that aspect, just for the recovery and to really dial in and focus on a fight, like a big fight like that. I could see where I don't think he meant any harm by it.
Gotcha, man. Well, appreciate the time as always. Last thing before you head out, social media, so people know where to follow you at. You have any management sponsorships, anything like that you got to plug? Floor is yours.
Yeah, I've been working with first round management. Maurice and Mason been really helping me out with stuff like that and everything, get my fights and some minor sponsorship deals and stuff. And then my Instagram is at Francis Marshall 1.